This episode of Watch Out for Fireballs is brought to you by our patrons at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. $5 a month gets you a lot of bonus stuff, including the bonus episodes of this and Bonfireside Chat covering Elden Ring. Patrons such as Kellerak, Matt Refford, Andy Palshak, Joey Hoffman, Chase Moore. Thank you very much. If you'd like to join them, head on over to that website. That is patreon.com/DuckFeedTV. Thank you. This is Gary Butterfield.
This is Cole Ross.
And this is Watch Out for Fireballs, a Games Club podcast.
And this week we are talking about Ultimate NES Remix, which is a variety game developed and published by Nintendo for the 3DS in 2014. And this is a Cole Jam. This is my vanity pick here for this month.
Cole, the listeners want to know, is Cole Jam harvested ethically from Cole?
Some guys come by 2 times per month. And they hook up a machine. I get a magazine to watch. Know, I don't read it. I just look at it from across the room. And that helps me produce. It's real strange. They show up in real heavy kind of hazmat, which concerns me. When I ask about that, they say, "Oh, don't worry, you're fine." Which, you know. There's that school that was behind the Cole Jam runoff plant that was getting unhealthy amounts of Cole Jam in their milk. Yeah.
I remember that news story. Somebody, Aaron Brockovich, did. I can't remember who.
Yeah.
Might have been Aaron Brockovich.
Super fun. Doesn't seem so super to me.
Yeah, sounds so great. So this is a vanity pick, and this is going to be a breezer.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully everyone understands us throwing ourselves some breezers.
Yeah.
What with the Elden Ring.
It's massive.
I also want to make a real quick note before we have some admin at the beginning of this.
We do.
I'm dealing with some health stuff. I have a lozenge in my throat.
Okay.
I apologize for any additional mouth sounds that come through on the mic. If I did not have this lozenge doing its thing, I would not be able to record.
It's a load-bearing lozenge.
And it's not just like, oh, baby's got a sore throat. It's more complicated than that.
Yep.
But I will appreciate everyone's patience. If there's a little bit of additional mouth noise, I've got it tucked in my gum like some chaw right now, and it's just doing its work. But it is, it might come through.
Yeah.
So apologies to listeners.
It's not really chaw unless you're filling a bottle with your saliva and keeping it on your floor for a couple of weeks.
Huh? Oh, like I'm not. Like I haven't been doing that this entire time.
Don't make assumptions about the way I live my life.
Yeah, don't make saliva assumptions about your fellow man.
Oh man, good to know. You mentioned admin stuff. Wanted to let people know we're also making some changes on the back end here on the Patreon. Nothing huge. It's all easy stuff. I've been going in and investing a lot of time in actually making per show premium feeds. There will be like a big post on Patreon telling you how to do this. Kind of the big change that will affect the most people is that early release material is going into its own premium feed, whereas all other premium material, like the premium Watch Out for Fireballs, Bonfireside Chat, Unfilmable, all of our bonus stuff, that will be still available like on Patreon itself. Focusing on making it as easy as possible for people to find and get what they want and are entitled to based on their membership.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be easier. We're still hammering out some of the kinks on it, so bear with us, please.
Yes.
Extend us some patience as things, and there are a lot of different pod catching devices out there. So it's not like there's necessarily always a one size fits all solution for some of this stuff. We'll do our best.
Yes.
So please have some patience as we get this stuff rolling.
Yeah, especially with the support stuff. I'm getting around to answering your questions as quickly as I can and updating the instructions as quickly as I can.
Yeah. This will all be for the better eventually.
Yes.
So growing pains are natural, but eventually this will be very good.
Yeah. And people so far have been super patient and super helpful, providing more information about how to troubleshoot stuff, which has already worked for me. I've taken that advice and given it to other people, and it's worked out. So
nice. So this video game we're doing contains many games.
It does.
And we are not going to just do like a miniature watch out for fireballs on Donkey Kong Jr.
No.
During this. This covers many games we've already covered. Things like that. So just keep in mind, we're going to talk about what Ultimate NES Remix does with these games and maybe give you a brief overview of the game, but don't expect like the history of Balloon Fight during this.
Yeah.
Or from anyone. Like nobody talks about Balloon Fight.
Yeah. And nobody oughta. Just play Joust.
Yeah. It's not very good. Yeah. It's one of the lower cards in the Nintendo. Like it's not a good game.
Yeah. Also, we're going to talk some shit on some NES games you probably like just because of the system they came out on. There are probably going to be people who think that Dr. Mario and Kid Icarus are unassailable classics. Sorry. Fire up the flamethrower. It's the Sacred Cow Barbecue, everybody.
Yeah. Put 60 seconds on the clock. Dr. Mario blows. There we go. And now just sit in silence for 58 seconds.
Okay. I will set a timer.
So what this is kind of a compilation of two other games as well. So this is very complicated. Ultimate NES Remix is kind of the compilation, a best of two Wii U games called NES Remix 1, NES Remix 2.
Yes.
Each of those games was made up of a series of NES games that are kind of chopped, hacked, screwed into these various challenges and played in rapid fire succession, kind of like a WarioWare.
Yes. You will pick a stage and it will go through anywhere from 1 to I think the maximum is like it's something ridiculous, like 12 little challenges inside. And it is grading you on accomplishing what it is asking you to do. And these are the ROMs, and this is running on the best NES emulation that Nintendo has access to at the time, right?
Yes.
And they're kind of like going in and looking and saying like, okay, we're able to track, how many coins you got in this particular time. And then, it is gauging whether you pass or fail and also assigning you like a rating based on this. There are so many variations to the challenges, even within particular games. Like we can't list it here in the generalities.
Or even the specifics. We're not going to say every stage in the Mario Brothers one because a lot of them are like step on a Goomba. And what do you say about that? Broadly, though, what it's doing is it's taking a game and breaking it down to its verbs.
Yes.
In a really canny and aware way. You take something like Super Mario Brothers 1, a game everyone's played, we'll use that for an example, which is a game of stringing together, collect the coin, go down the pipe, stomp on the Goomba, get the star, jump the gap, things like that, all kind of strung together in a way you don't think about when you're playing it. And what Ultimate NES Remix does is break that down and make you consider each part individually.
Yeah. You ever seen one of those like exploding diagrams of a machine or like electronics? You know what I mean when I say, it's kind of like that, but for like the game design of these things.
Yeah.
It takes...
I used to, there's a series of books as a kid, comics kid, the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. And
so
they
good.
made one that was just devices, vehicles, and machines. And they're all that. So you'd see like Forge's arm and it would be exploded. And you'd see all the weird little components. And it was the coolest shit. I also had a Star Trek Next Generation Guide to the Enterprise that had a bunch of those.
Yeah. I had a handful of them to like just about like the ships and machines of Star Wars, Yeah. This is kind of like that, but not for made up machines, but for the kind of the elements of play here, right?
The basic building blocks of these games, which in turn are the basic building blocks of video games we play today.
Yes.
Which is the cool thing. Like we just recently covered Legend of Zelda on Bonfireside Chat, and there's so much Dark Souls DNA in that. It's the action RPG that a lot of people have played. You know, adventure heads, get out of here.
Yeah.
Having that broken down even further, like this ends up feeling like game science or game chemistry when you're playing it.
Yeah.
It's really neat intellectually.
It's very atomic.
Yeah.
And this is not the game's, arguably this is not the game's purpose, but it almost feels like a teaching, like a teaching platform, you know? And there are instances where it's better, better at that than others. Like, I think this would be a very bad way to learn Punch Out, right? But that is here, you know?
It's not a bad way to learn Metroid, though.
Nope.
Or learn like Kid Icarus. Or, the second part of this, I have a lot of affection for this game. I think this game's really great. The other thing it does is it gives you the experience of having played the game in an absolutely concentrated form.
Yes.
Really similar. We'll talk about Nintendo's kind of relationship with this, but it reminds me of the online Switch Online stuff with the special stages.
That feels so of a piece with this.
Yeah, and that is such a cool idea. Like, what if we could give you this game in pill form? You don't want to go through Zelda 2. You had to grind a lot in Zelda 2.
Yeah.
It takes 8,000 fucking experience points to get to the final level in Zelda 2, and you have to have it because it's hard as hell.
Yep.
What if, the Nintendo Special, the Switch Online is just like, hey, start Zelda 2 with all the stuff.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Amazing.
This is just like, just do the highlights of Zelda 2. It's like Total Recall. Like, what if you could just have the memory of having played Zelda 2?
Yeah, and I kind of forgot that this was the thing when I went back in and played this, because I had previously played it on Wii U and didn't necessarily concentrate on beating stuff. I played enough of an individual game to kind of get it. It was just a real tapas situation. But like the last few challenges on most of these is kind of running you through the broad strokes of playing and beating these games. So like the last challenge of the Super Mario Brothers one is like, get from 1-1 to beating Bowser using the warp gates, which is probably the way that a lot of people just naturally play Mario.
Yeah. And that's having this Reader's Digest version of these games, it's a network axiom at this point. Like, there will be purists who think that that's robbing yourself and the game, cheating yourself. But really, the alternative with a lot of these old games is not playing them.
Yes.
This version of it allows you to see what's good. It tweaks things. It can be challenging at times, but it tweaks things in favor of the player and gives you the hits. It is a greatest hits version of all of these games, which itself is a greatest hits compilation. I really like that.
Yeah.
I really like hitting the broad strokes of Kid Icarus without having to figure out Kid Icarus.
Something else that's real cool is the nature of the challenges. It doesn't just go from like, hey, here's the basic stuff, and hey, here are the, the bullet points of like what you would go through to beat this game, but also will steer you to techniques that you were not aware of. Or just like weird little corner cases. The Super Mario Brothers 3 content in this is a fucking revelation,
Yeah. There's a bunch of real cool stuff there. Like all the trivia things, like, you beat the boss with the frog suit and you get the special dialogue.
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers 1, they're like, do this with Small Fire Mario, which is a glitch you can get. It's in conversation with the meta around these things and all of the accumulated knowledge that was not necessarily communicated to the player at the time the game came out as well. So not only is it just the basic verbs, it's also the kind of body of knowledge that sprung up around these games.
Yeah. There's a bonus challenge in this that is like get to and beat the like negative world or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Which was a cool urban legend that you could really do. That was just a glitch, but they're acknowledging it. Like, this feels very graceful to me in a company acknowledging its history.
Yeah.
In kind of an ideal, like kind of graceful way.
And it is talking about the actual experience of playing these games and discovering stuff about them or at least laying that bare, kind of in a way that feels akin to Retro Game Challenge to me.
Really similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is itself broken down
best
into
games,
individual challenges. Yeah.
Yeah. But for Fate games, which is that extra level of super great meta,
Yeah.
this exchanges that for things I have affection for.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a certain number of lives for each set of challenges. When you lose those when you've either made the challenge impossible, you've died, or you can't do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like one of the Mario levels will be like, get the flagpole. If you go to the warp zone instead, you lose.
Yeah.
You have to do what it says.
Yeah. Or if it'll say like get 5,000 points on the flagpole. If you don't jump on the very top, then it will give you a mess. So it's not just watching for did you die or did time run out. It's actually, again, like I love the way that this is basically just like a ROM hack of these things, is looking at the values inside of it and saying, okay, did they meet the goal or not?
Yeah. Then you're given a star rating. This is for your time. There are actually 4 levels of this. It seems like there are 3, but there's like 1, 2, 3 stars or glowing stars. And then these stars accumulate to unlock other games and other remix sets. There's a remix path, 2 of these. This is really cool.
Yep.
I would play, an entire game of just these as well.
Yeah.
These are really playful and awesome.
Yeah. Every single one of these, whenever I got to a new one, I was just real happy to see what they unveiled to me, even if it just was, hey, maybe the lights go out every once in a while.
Yeah, it's still neat.
Yeah.
1-1 in Mario in silhouette is doable because in this game they provide you with a familiarity with 1-1, but also it's in our gamer American DNA. You know, you can do those kind of tweaks because it's a holy space.
Yeah. And it's like not even a challenge always, because one of the like bonus challenges you get is, oh, we just recreated 1-1 in Mario 3. Like, what if you just ran 1-1 in this engine? And it's like, oh, neat.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about a little bit later. We'll talk about kind of all the Nintendo DNA things that this connects to.
Yeah.
But with that kind of thing, that's where it reminds me of Mario Maker.
Yeah.
Like Mario Maker has a lot of Ultimate NES remix.
Yeah.
Kind of tethers.
Yes. So, the remixes are where you get sprites and mechanics from one game being added into another. Again, so many examples. We're going to talk about those kind of at the end. I've broken them down into like the various categories, so we don't end up saying, bonus 1 is this, bonus 2 is this. But, you end up with, graphical changes using the added power of the hardware to do shaders and things like that to make things look and behave differently. It's a little, it feels like at the end of a Silent Hill game, the nowhere section, where all of the environments and items and enemies are all suddenly mishmashed together.
Yeah. There are 2 sets of these remix paths that you have. And the remixes and games in this in general trimmed some of the games from the other 2, from the NES remixes. And there's no loss.
Nope.
This is stuff like Clue Land, Wario's Woods, Brawler, Wrecking Crew.
Ice hockey.
Ice hockey, things that, ice hockey's not so bad.
Oh, yeah.
But like generally bad games. And they're weird, and people did not have affection for them.
Yeah. So it keeps the game list manageable and, kind of keeps... broadly the hits in. I would struggle to look at like the complete list of 1 and 2 and say like, oh, this should have been in here over even something I am as like negative on as a Dr. Mario, right?
Well, and also Dr. Mario is arguably more important.
Yes.
Than Clue Land. Like the most obscure thing that ends up on this is Balloon Fight. And that was all a huge game.
Yes.
Even like at the time. So,
so on the 3DS version, if you get all of the possible stars, you will unlock Famicom Remix mode, which it's the same game, the same challenges, but running on the emulated Famicom hardware instead. The differences are real subtle. It's mostly in music, from what I saw. I did not get all the stars, but I looked on YouTube. But yeah, Famicom and NES, technically different systems, and it's neat that they included this because faithfulness was their remit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's also a couple bonus modes in this. The 3DS version of this has a bonus mode called Speed Mario Bros, which is Mario Brothers 1 at double speed.
Yeah.
Which is real cool, like just as a little hack.
Mm-hmm.
Little hacklet.
Yeah.
The Wii U versions had a thing that featured the 1990s Nintendo World Championship thing. For kind of score attacks and ranking, you could relive the wizard.
Without all of the rest of the parts of the wizard, without the weird bad road trip.
The kidnapper, the kid stealer, John Q. Kid Stealer. Who's, who they stick on their kids.
No, the bounty hunter, Kid Kill.
yeah, Larry Kid Kill. Don't be silly, Bart. A man with plenty of kids has less reason to steal your kids than a man whose kid supply is low.
Go listen to that episode of Adaptation Decay. About the wizard.
It's a funny movie, not necessarily to watch,
right,
but to think about,
but to clown on. I love the way that this came together. This feels super wholesome to me. So the whole series here was the brainchild of Koichi Hayashida, who was the director of Super Mario 3D Land and Super Mario 3D World, which makes a ton of sense to me. Yeah, actually,
because those games are also broken into constituent parts. Like that is the stage based, Mario. 3D World, which what maybe my favorite 3D Mario, is just a series of like perfectly executed challenges. Demonstrate the challenge, give it to you in safety, give it to you in danger. In almost like an ultra precise, like Agent 47 drumming kind of way.
Yeah. Just incredibly rapid fire and very well put together. We talked about that. I think that was last year or the year before it. Time is meaningless. But Mario 3D World is very good. But he had finished up Mario 3D Land and he proposed this idea. And once it was approved, like he did the first 100 challenges himself. And the reason he was so kind of excited about this is that Hayashida, he never got a chance to play NES games as a kid. Ended up working in Nintendo, ended up making Mario games. This was just a generation that he didn't get. So he was kind of looking for a way to play these games at work. In order to kind of make up for lost time. And so playing them and understanding them for the purpose of making the challenges was an excuse for him, kind of as a side project while he was making Super Mario 3D World.
Yeah, very cute.
Yeah.
Like it's very sweet to have him, picture him in an office, playing Kid Icarus.
Yeah.
And being like, okay, what the fuck's this about?
And probably one guesses, I do not know this, having access to documentation and even institutional knowledge about these games to help put it together, like you're living and working at the source,
Yeah, even though I imagine Kid Icarus awareness is not at its absolute heights in Nintendo. There's probably some wizened old janitor.
Yeah.
Who you could ask and be like, Kid Icarus, that's a name I haven't heard in years. Okay, Paul It. Wait, Paul It. P.it.
Wait a minute, and then you look at him, and then he's gone. He's just disappeared.
He's flying away. There's just a single feather floating in the air.
Bitch, damn like
you! A single eggplant on the ground. He shits out his calling card.
Oh my gosh! The only reason I feel confident saying that is because people stay around at those companies forever over there.
Yeah. There's definitely some old timers who are familiar, and the original versions of this with the weird ones, like you had to have fans of like Donkey Kong 3 and stuff.
Nobody's a fan. Nobody likes Millhouse. Come on.
I like Donkey Kong 3, but it's I think Donkey Kong games just get better until he gets his own. Like as long as he has an antagonist.
Yeah.
Once he gets to Super Nintendo, he can absolutely S my D. But
you mean King K. Rool doesn't count for you?
No, okay. I hate him. But Donkey Kong Jr. and Donkey Kong 3 are both good to me.
Yeah,
Donkey Kong 3 is really weird. So he wanted to do that. He wanted to make these very faithful. Things like frame rate glitches, flicker, that's part of the difficulty and part of the games themselves. So as much as this is not a purist take on playing these games, there is a purist heart in how they're presented.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I'm happy. I'm happy that is that is preserved and not smoothed over. They could have tightened up the controls or, did any number of things. No, it's just presented as it was, which is great. People really didn't know what to make of this when it came out. I think maybe there was a combination of, Wii U weirdness because it was Wii U forward. I'm happy this is on 3DS. Just for accessibility's standpoint, because nobody has a Wii U. Also, maybe I think there might have been like a value proposition, kind of question, like, hey, is this like a full release or whatever? So it reviewed, it gets like 7 out of 10 when you look at the aggregate. And broadly across publications that I tend to look to for reviews. And it sold well enough to get a sequel, but it didn't necessarily redefine Nintendo's output.
No, it was very strange to me. So when I got this at the time, I was an early adopter of this. I have a Wii U. It's sitting in a bin. I still have a Wii U. I just don't use it, of course. I was in hog heaven. Getting this was entirely my thing. And to me, it was very obvious that I was like, oh, it's WarioWare. It's the 9-volt stages of WarioWare.
Yeah.
And I was really, really excited by that. I was really frustrated by the bad reviews and then very happy when they came out with the sequel. I have both of them. And then I bought the ultimate version so I could play it not on a Wii U.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ultimate thrill. Can you imagine not playing something on a Wii U?
I do.
That thing was portable, but you had to be in front of the TV. I ended up playing Super Metroid on the gamepad of that.
Same.
Laying on my couch, but I had to be in the same room as the TV because it was. Yeah, it's such a weird interstitial thing.
That's how I did Uncharted 2, the Forbidden Waters or whatever. I just had the Wii U plugged in headless in my bedroom so I could play it in bed.
Yeah.
On the virtual console. Yeah. Not plugged into a TV or anything.
Silly system.
Couldn't do that. God, I don't know. It is starting to, it has that Dreamcast charm to me. I just want to see that little guy succeed.
There's some underdog charm to it, and there's good software on it, even though largely it is escaped. It's interesting how as people who like to play things in bed, how far things have come. I am, Steam Deck, officially without any kind of hack, we'll be playing Deus Ex in bed.
Yes.
Pretty soon.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Did you get one of those?
From having to.
Did you order?
Yeah. I did. Yeah. I was just curious about it. I know that there are ways around it.
Yeah.
That T-Bone phone thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
I wanted the bigger screen, I think, and I wanted the dedicated hardware for it. I didn't want to load up and unload my phone onto things.
Yeah.
I want to be able to listen to podcasts or something while playing a game.
That makes sense
on the on Steam.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it.
But what you were saying was how far things have come for playing things in bed.
Yeah. For playing in bed, the Switch was obviously a sea change with that. You know, there are sickos who never undock their Switch. But the now, it used to be you had to be tethered literally to a room.
Yes.
No more.
It's neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have no idea when we're going to be getting any more of this, right? Of NES remix specifically, not gaming in bed. And pretty soon you'll game exclusively in bed.
I'll do it tonight.
Yeah, you can't prove I'm not doing it right now.
Yeah, exactly. Podcast in bed, game in bed.
Bed life.
Bed life.
I'm very sick.
Eventually we're going to have a duck feed compound, and it's just going to be that horrible haunted house from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yep.
Just 4 old men
with the grandpa
bed
balloon.
Sores and all. You just pull aside a curtain and there's all the people from the level, just stretching out like infinity, in glory, all in bed.
Oh man, we do not have an indication of if this is going to be brought to the Switch. If that'd be cool. Especially because the 3DS's die in cloud. Just to get as much cool stuff off of there as you can and onto currently available hardware. That'd be neat. I did some looking to see what Hayashida was doing since then. The most recent credit on his Moby games is Super Mario Odyssey. But his Moby games is incomplete. That's a 5-year-old game.
Yeah. It's the spirit of this is still alive. And the spirit of this has run through Nintendo. WarioWare was kind of the beginning. Rhythm Heaven has a little bit of that DNA in it. And then you ended up with this, you ended up with those special stages. You ended up with Mario Maker. The closest thing we have to this, I think now, are the stages that come with Mario Maker.
Yeah.
That are just micro lessons. It's still taking down a constituent part of a game design, of a game's mechanics, and breaking it down to teach it to you.
Yeah.
But those special stages, I started a Zelda 2 run with the special, like just all my stats are maxed, but I still have to go do all the stuff. Yeah. It's a blast. Like it's really fun. I really like those. Basically justify Switch Online to me.
I made, after we did Zelda 1 for Bonfireside Chat, I made the mistake of firing up just the regular Zelda 2, and it's fun. Like it's a neat game, but I forgot how much grinding was present in that.
It's a great game. It's just, it's just grindy. Yeah. And then you also, with the Switch Online, you get the bonus of like, hey, bonus Eliminator boat duel.
You get that weird firefighting RPG.
Yeah. I think you described this on a tweet where you're like, they throw us a handful of popcorn classics.
Oh, God, yeah.
And that's basically what it is. Like, Joe and Mac popcorn classics.
Yep. Joe and Mac and Multiplicity. Double feature for the ages.
Joe and Mac and me. The spirit of this is something that Nintendo really cares about, and it's something that, like, no company is really ethical. They're, they basically all suck, and Nintendo has its problems. This is something that I've always really loved about them, though. Yeah. I don't like how they charge you for a license to play their old games. I don't like how they shut down fan projects. I don't want to say they're good at legacy stuff, but I will say that their official products that deal with their legacy are, best in the biz, basically. Yeah. Like, it is more interesting than even the really great compilations of, like, Mega Man collection, which is great and really well curated and has a bunch of bonus stuff, but it's not as like playful as how Nintendo wants to kind of cant and fuck up. It's tough. It's
they have a very just the interesting take on it. I know interesting is no really broad word. I literally mean, like, it is not just a straight pipe. It is not just presenting these games to you because they know that this is available to you, especially in the age when this came out, when the Wii U and the Wii and even 3DS virtual consoles were there and accessible to you and on the system you were already playing. You could just go and play the actual full games if you wanted them. This has a little bit more intentionality to it. And I think that is the value proposition here. If you look at this as like, why would I want to play a collection of NES games? No, this is really far from that.
Yeah. And if you're a fan of old NES games, hopefully, and you haven't played this, we can sell you on it. Yeah. Because it functions not only as that like interesting deconstruction, but also as a love letter. So we're going to start going through. We'll talk about the games. We'll just talk about what the game is, specifically in more obscure games, and then kind of just talk about the varieties of challenges that are in there, but not go one by one because that would be ridiculous. And then talk about the remixes and the kind of things they do. Yes. Again, not going beat by beat because there's not that much to it. These are micro challenges. It'd be like talking about WarioWare stages individually. Yeah.
So let's get started with Super Mario Brothers. The order of these is related to when they are revealed to you. When you start up, you have Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, and Excitebike. But like the way that they teach you how the interface is going to work and how the rhythm works is by just giving you a challenge. Hey, beat 1-1, which everybody can do pretty much. You run this and then it will give you your little star rating. And then it starts getting a little bit more kind of granular.
Yes. Yeah. So the first one, again, you run 1-1. Everyone knows Mario Brothers. We don't have to tell you what Super Mario Brothers 1 is.
Right.
Then it starts doing coins, defeating specific enemies with a time limit, stomp on 3 Goombas, collect X coins. They do things that are they're like, get the 1-up. And the 1-up is in a secret spot. This is also weird kid DNA. Like, I just played this enough to where I know where there are hidden 1-ups.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to systematize that, because you might fail if you'd never played this before, but eventually you'll get it.
Yeah. You can just
and then
redo
you
it.
Have that experience of knowing this weird little hidden thing.
Mm-hmm. And it's not entirely unkind either. Like in the parts where it is asking you, like, hey, find these hidden blocks, or even like find the pipe that will take you further in the level, things that kind of rely on you having, played this before or internalized it. It is not just entirely trial and error. That'd be ridiculous for the invisible blocks. After a certain amount of time, the game will actually circle and give a call out arrow to where you should go. That generally means that you're not going to be able to beat this and get a perfect or a rainbow star. But if you are kind of attached to that, you can just memorize that like it's a little, memorization challenge, and go back and run those again in less than a minute.
Yeah. It also, you can continue and start off at your last checkpoint, but you can only get 1 star. It caps your star limit.
Yes.
And stars are functional in this. They're not just bragging rights, but you get way more of them than you really need.
Yeah.
It's pretty generous. Another secret that it has is the way that you can get unlimited 1-ups in Mario. You can have a green shell and you can stomp on it on a set of stairs at the end, and just bounce on it and get 1-ups forever.
Yes.
This was a cool playground secret for amongst me and my friends. It will eventually tell you how to do this, but it's an example of it playing with the meta.
Yeah.
I who knows what Nintendo would say as whether this was intended putting there. I imagine they might be like, well, who knows? Maybe it was. But my guess is no.
Yeah.
My guess is they're being coy boys about that. They acknowledge it.
Yeah.
It's an acknowledgement that this game is bigger than them.
Yeah, it is. It is built into it. And if it was a bug, it is a bug that they have decided to embrace.
Ascended glitch.
Yeah,
as TV tropes might call it.
Thanks, Tropey.
Hey,
Tropey
the clown. Tropey, don't play that.
I remember that being easier to execute. I don't know if that was a 3DS thing or a my old ass hands thing. This one took me a lot of attempts actually getting the 10 1-ups in a row.
It was hard when I was young. It took several tries to do it. So I think it's just like muscle memory stuff. In the class of challenges that reveal things you may not have seen, they send you to all of Bowser's castles and say, reveal his disguises. You hit him with a fire flower and you get to see which monster is disguised as Bowser, because it would make sense for you to dunk Bowser in lava, time after time, just over and over like a circle of hell. So the first time, if you fire flower Bowser, eventually the disguise falls off and it's a Goomba under there.
Yeah.
But maybe you haven't, a lot of times if you're Big Mario, you just run past Bowser and hit the axe.
Yeah.
So this allows you to see which critters under every Bowser.
It also takes you on a tour of the different Bowser arenas, because it is, in hindsight, a little bit disappointing if you're a modern player to go back and say like, oh, every stage has the same end boss. It's just Bowser and he fires like his flame belches at you and that's about it. No, this will give you like the different run-ups to him, and then like the different constraints that you have to get up and over him if you want to, or get under him. It'll start adding it has been forever since I've actually done the legit way of the original Mario. Does he get the hammers in the original Mario when you fight him, or is that this thing?
No, he gets the hammers.
He gets the hammers? Okay. I was uncertain absolutely. Because every time I've played Mario for the past 20 years, I've done the warp pipes.
Yeah. It also, it's almost like it acknowledges the shitty part of this, because it bypasses those trash levels that are like Lost Woods style mazes. Like the Bowser castles are not well designed in Mario 1. Like, that's pretty obnoxious. So it's cool to get around that.
Yeah. There are a ton of swimming challenges in the Mario Brothers section. That's a real bummer because swimming in Mario 1 is real rough.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
Then ends with you going from you're using warp rooms to get to Bowser from 1-1, which is a nice meaty challenge. And again, like you said, like how most people play it.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong, the original Donkey Kong, not Country or any of those things, was Mario's first starring game, where you go up to the top of a series of girders and stuff and collapse an ape in order to rescue a Pauline.
Yeah.
This so it's a single screen arcade game, just in case somebody listening's not familiar. This starts off just giving you the basic verbs of Donkey Kong, like get the top, walk over individual spots like these nuts to clear them.
Yeah, doing the NES
collapse the
specific stuff.
platform. Yeah. Using the hammer. You know, then starts showing you some things you maybe didn't know you could do, like jumping over multiple barrels in one jump.
Yeah. Because you might end up in situations that feel like freak accidents that are completely insurmountable, but it is kind of teaching you that for however kind of clunky the actual control of Donkey Kong is, you actually have a wider affordance than you would expect to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Good game, Donkey Kong 1. Just fine. We talked about that when we talked about Donkey Kong 94 live, because it's the first 4 levels of this. Then eventually you just have to survive for a while getting specific scores. It is at its heart an arcade game.
Yeah.
Where you want to get points.
What I wish that they had done is built-in ways, like built-in challenges for you to guess which way something was going to go, because there is a definite logic to that. Like I almost wish that they would have extended it just a little bit further and gone into like, just a little bit above the basic understanding of Donkey Kong that they give you here.
Yeah. I had read somewhere that it is random which way they go, but I don't know if that's actually true.
Yeah.
So I haven't gone super deep on Donkey Kong.
Maybe all of that stuff that I saw in King of Kong was superstition, because both those guys turned out to be shitheads.
Yeah. Let's show about the villains.
Yeah.
The next thing they reveal, or that's revealed from the start, is Excite Bike.
God, I love Excite Bike so much.
This reminded me how much I love Excite Bike.
Yes, thank you.
Dude,
Excite Bike rules. High five.
Great. When we started doing live shows again. Great idea for a live show episode.
Oh yeah.
Really, really cool. One of my favorite coffee places in Portland is called CC's, and it is a coffee place / motorcycle accessory store.
Ooh.
And it's all very themed. So they have an Excite Bike arcade machine.
And
if I'm there and I have a quarter in my pocket, I always pop a quarter in.
Yeah, Excite Bike is great. Just the management of the heat, the way that it is like combat racing as well. There's just something like that I love. It's part of the thing that I like about the Trials games, which is very quickly landing parallel to the surface, like rotating yourself to get there. There's just something that's very satisfying about that.
Yeah. Or like Uno Racers, you do that.
Yeah.
And it also has that modular lanes. Like you can only be in those 4 different lanes, which is kind of ahead of its time. Like that went away for a while, and then came back in like endless runners and stuff.
Yeah.
This idea, like endless Excite Bike, is a cool idea that somebody should do as a jam.
Oh God, Excite Bike 99 beats still my heart.
That would be really, really cool. So this starts off with just finishing races. Then you learn how to do wheelies. You learn how to land parallel to the ground after doing jumps. You learn to take out your rivals. The way you do this is a little bit like Joust. You put your back wheel over their front wheel.
Yeah.
And crash them.
Yeah, the same thing works for you. The difficult challenges on this, they ask you to, complete laps and to beat times. But the biggest ones are like, okay, do this without getting knocked over. And so learning how to be defensive and also like preemptively take people off of the board so you have lots of running room ends up being pretty important.
Yeah. Excite Bike is legit awesome.
Yeah.
Less awesome to me, and I'm glad that you're with me on this, because most people I know who are into Dr. Mario are really into it. Yeah. And I think it's just like they got captured by Dr. Mario in his lab, as a kid or something. But people will be like, oh, it's better than Tetris. And I'm like, bite your fucking tongue.
So I think maybe we talked
sloppy game.
We talked about this broadly in the Tetris episode, most likely. But of the drop puzzles, I think they broadly fall into 2 different kinds of categories. There's like the Tetris and, any variations of Tetris that you get where it is spatial, where it is about filling space. And then you get the color-based combo ones. And Dr. Mario is very much one of those, except you're not only lining up pills of different colors, and when you match the different colors, they go away. You're trying to set those up to take out viruses that are on the board. So, you're taking out enemies. But this goes, ends up being like Puyo Pop, and people who are like really dig setting up like, 45 chain combos and sending a bunch of garbage blocks onto their enemies. I'm not into that. In fact, the only color match puzzle game that I like is Tetris Attack. But that is like different enough that it ends up working for me.
For me, this is just a bad example of that genre. Like I don't hate that genre.
Yeah.
I love Luminous, which is a combo based color game. Like I can get that. I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah.
And I love that game. Same thing. There was a iOS puzzle game called Castlevania Puzzle of the Night.
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that? Yeah. I beat that. Like I got, went through all of that. I really liked that. And that's a color based combo. I just think this is a bad version of it.
Yeah.
It also only has one or two songs, which I think is a problem. Like, yeah, they're bops, but and I know Tetris has 3 songs, but that's old Tetris.
50% as many songs.
Yeah. It's 150% increase in the number of songs. So the concept of Dr. Mario is you throw pills down. Pills can be solid color or combinations of these 3 colors, and you try to match 4 and include a virus in that match.
Yes.
And it's about cascading down little extra bits. It's trash. And the remix levels about this were the most hard for me.
Yeah.
Just me fighting Wario or Birdo over and over and over until eventually what I did, since we had the same opening spots, was just intentionally lost and watched what they did.
Yeah.
And then just executed it faster. I hate it.
Yeah. Even within the actual game itself, like getting down to, hey, you have a certain amount of time to do this very specific thing that we're going to ask you to do, and because the drop order is going to be the same, it becomes a very literal puzzle mode where it's like you need to know where exactly to drop what you need to drop. That is not interesting to me in a drop puzzler. I like being able to roughly plan, but then get around, adapt if I fail or adapt if something doesn't.
I always want to improv. It's the same difference between Final Fantasy Tactics and Advance Wars.
Yes.
Tetris is Final Fantasy Tactics. Dr. Mario is Advance Wars.
Yeah.
One's a big long puzzle. One of them's an improv exercise.
Yeah.
Like a kind of musical jazz.
Cosmic Gumbo.
Yeah, it's a Cosmic Gumbo. We used to joke about it when we were playing Dr. Mario. So anyway, you just plays Dr. Mario shit. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
It's garbage.
To a good game. To a game that I like so much. Kirby games are really good. And Kirby's Adventure, I forgot how advanced this was.
It's beautiful. It's really great. It's original NES Kirby, so it's not Game Boy Kirby where it's like too simple before they added abilities. Like Kirby 1 feels like a game for babies.
Yes.
This is a really, really good game and a very late NES game. So it is exceptionally beautiful and advanced.
Yeah. So much variety in the enemies and the bosses in this. Like this
we should do this. We haven't done a Kirby game in forever. We should do a Kirby game.
Yeah, we really oughta. Yeah, no notes. Just let's do Kirby.
Yeah. Let's curb it up. So you're learning basic Kirby stuff, which Kirby is a little pink cream puff. He inhales enemies when you can press down and absorb their abilities. And you have a little stomp, a little butt stomp. And that's Kirby. And he can fly when he's full of air.
Yes. Just a hugely varied moveset. And you are doing that against his extremely vast rogues gallery of mini bosses, which is fun. But also doing things.
A lot of people hate Kirby.
What?
Kirby's got a lot of enemies. A lot of people hate Kirby.
Oh, I thought you said like actual people. Like I was like, I'll pop those people in the chops. Come on.
Kirby has more enemies than Nixon in the universe. He's like a little miniature Nixon, and they both have the big jowls.
Weirdly enough,
you don't think Nixon couldn't eat a hot dog and then press down and turn into a hot dog? That was being naive.
It turns out Jane Fonda hates both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you go through his rogues gallery and use his abilities, and some of these challenges require a lot of some really precise stuff. Any of the wheel ones I thought were pretty fun. challenging because you're going to hit something and die, but like just real fun and zippier than you think an NES game can be.
Yeah. Yep. This also, Kirby loves his mini games, so you'll do those as well. His quick draw is Wild West, put on a little cowboy hat. You get to fight all the bosses, which is a big part of Kirby. Like, you do these challenges and feel like you have played Kirby again.
Yeah.
And then finally the heavy mole fight, which is you have to keep up with him. It's an auto scroller.
Yeah.
So he clears the course and you have to follow behind him.
Pretty tough because it moves in random directions and you need to stay close to him, but also far enough away that you don't get hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mario 3 was a weird one to do this since we just played this.
I know, right?
Same thing with Zelda. But yeah, just listen to that WAF episode, basically.
Right.
For the things you do in this. They start revealing some secrets, which I like. We mentioned this in the generalities. Like, if you beat a boss with, say, the frog suit, the king will think you have been turned into a frog as well.
Yes. And he will ask if you want him to use his magic to make you human again, or whatever is human in Mario's world. It is unclear.
Yep.
Yeah. There are some pretty tough ones, like taking you to like specific levels where you're chaining invincibility stars. There's very little margin for error in those.
Yeah. Oh, and that stage is just from Mario 3. It's just you don't have to be invincible.
Yes.
For the one that shows you. And in the end, you do a bunch of World 8 stuff until you have to beat Bowser as Frog Mario, which is something nobody would do in their right mind.
Right. Because that jump is garbage. And it's really tough to get out of the way.
Yeah, you move real slow.
Yeah.
The next one to unlock is Donkey Kong Jr. I'm a big fan of Donkey Kong Jr. No good reason. I just had it when I was a kid, so I played it a lot. This is you're just basically playing Donkey Kong Jr. The mechanics of the little man who climbs faster with two hands and climbs down faster with one hand, and can drop fruit.
Yes.
On enemies.
Yeah. You end up getting into some really high precision kind of asks in this, like kill two birds with one piece of dropping fruit, or a very tight, even if you want to pass, a very tight time limit that requires you to go up, how to go up and down as quickly as possible, but also make those kind of transitions between the different climb modes in the right way and like not overshoot.
And deal with his weird jump.
Yes.
Like Donkey Kong Jr. has got a real weird jump. But there's nothing really flashy to this.
Yeah.
Same thing with Punch Out, which is also very just basic. And I have no idea how this would be if I didn't have Punch Out memorized.
Yeah.
But as far as like just go to NES games, Punch Out, like if I'm just don't know what to play, Punch Out is my game. And it did make me want to just replay Punch Out. So I started a Punch Out on the Virtual Console on my 3DS.
It's there.
I love Punch Out so much.
I'm a little cooler on Punch Out. I don't have as much of it kind of memorized. So this was getting muscle memory back for me. But I don't envy them trying to figure out how to like break this up, especially in a pass fail kind of thing, especially with time. Something that ended up being a concern was beating somebody in time when they could just kind of randomly get up whenever they wanted to.
Yeah, there's tons of logic to whether they can get up.
Yeah,
but I couldn't repeat it. It's just internalized. To me, like there's certain things you can do to make a KO, or make somebody, and it's just really esoteric, non-communicated to the player. I do love the little grace note though. Like the final one is just like train with Doc Lewis.
Yep,
and you just watch the little cutscene. And that's it. Here's your little victory lap. It should be noted too. This does not take you to Tyson or anything.
No.
This takes you to Piston Honda, or not Piston. You go further than that. Does it do Bald Bull?
It ends on Bald Bull.
Yeah, it ends at a pretty big, the Anne Orlando moment.
Yeah,
for Punch Out, but it's not absolutely bonkers and making you fight Tyson.
Yeah,
which is absolutely rough.
That'd be too much. So what's funny about that cutscene one is I forgot. So the cutscene is so long that I kind of forgot there was another challenge in front of that. That it wasn't just, hey, press this button and watch the training cutscene. So when the cutscene ended and it showed 2 stars, I was like, what the fuck did I do wrong? And I honestly got kind of paranoid because the 3DS has the little sensor cameras or whatever. And like, yeah, for a moment during that, I kind of put this thing down and like looked at something on my phone. So I was like, all right, maybe I need to keep my eyes locked on it the whole time. Like it needs to sense there's something in front of it. Yeah. No, it just turned out that there was a fight right before that I kind of biffed that took a little bit longer than I needed it to be. But I got real paranoid. I was like, how can I get 2 stars watching a fucking cutscene?
Wait, you're horrible at watching cutscenes. I've been meaning to bring it up to you for a decade. Like, you're just dog shit at it. Like, I know you like doing it. You play your Metal Gears 4s and stuff, but like, you ain't good at it.
Yeah, you don't have to be good at something that you're passionate about. Yeah.
Better me tell you than like a stranger.
Yeah, true. I appreciate it, bud.
Yeah, no problem. You got cutscene in your teeth. After this is Legend of Zelda, which again is something we just played.
Yep.
So it feels a little bit goofy to do this.
Yeah. But it's a tour of the mechanics. And then you get to some of the more like advanced things, revealing stairs, revealing hidden entrances. Which if you know where they're at, you know what to bomb. But if you don't, it's kind of just trying to teach you like, yeah, this is roughly where you need to look in some of these. And then a whole bunch of challenges that are all about defeating enemies in the dark, which is a thing that you don't remember about the original Zelda. But
you do a lot.
Yeah.
In that game. And then you beat Ganon.
Yeah.
Which again, maybe you've never done.
Mm-hmm.
After this is non-superior Mario Brothers. Just the old Mario Brothers I had on Atari. I played this a lot as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kind of a rough one.
Yeah.
To go back to it only kind of holds up, and it is difficult.
Yep.
It's hard.
Yeah. Knocking something over by hitting it from the bottom and then getting around to it in time so you can kick it and get it off the screen. It's kind of a mad
avoiding
dash.
Fireballs and other enemies.
Yeah.
Get those crabs. This goes, through all the different types of enemies that you pop up. And Mario Bros. 1 had a bunch of weird enemies that don't show up again, like flies, the crabs, the icebergs, things like that. It's real neat. Yeah. To see those.
And then it gets around. So the original Mario Brothers kind of had like an asteroids thing going on. When you ran off one side of the screen, you wrapped around to the other. It ends up giving you pretty tough, like, hey, collect all of the coins challenges where you're not only avoiding enemies so you can survive and get the coins, but the time limit is short enough that you need to kind of use the logic of the screen wrap around to chart the shortest possible course to get to where you need to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Then finally, you have an AI Luigi, and you have to, who is, competitive. Like you could play Mario Brothers competitively in this, and you have to fight against the AI Luigi.
I love the prompt. It's like, find a way to kill poor Luigi.
No. The way that they fuck with Luigi in this, especially in the remix level, is very good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. On the other hand, or on second thought, after this we have Mario 2. Love Mario 2. Just great game. We've also covered that, so if you want to hear that at length. Just basic stuff, picking up things, throwing them, fighting the bosses, showing kind of doing a tutorial on how characters can be used.
Yeah, I like this.
So I like that a lot too. Like, maybe you're playing it and you're like, why would I ever play as Toad? He's slow and he can't, or he can't jump very high, and they throw him in the digging pits. Like, the digging pits.
That's where Toad belongs.
Fully Elden Ring brain. But maybe if you don't have that little kid knowledge that like, hey, this is what Toad's good at. Yeah. This kind of could train you to realize his use case.
Yeah. Luigi on the flying carpet, getting that extra hang time to avoid stuff. Yeah.
Very cool.
That's good. And then it gets you to defeating Wart. Teaching you how to grab vegetables from the machine and stuff. Mario 2 rules. I also feel like firing that up and playing that again. There are a number of these I've got a hankering for.
Yeah, this game does a good job of that.
Yeah.
Balloon Fight, which is a bad joust.
Yeah,
I've never liked Balloon Fight.
It's joust with added single player stuff.
Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
Very Flappy Bird, actually. Like the same way you fly. Like, I don't know if that was ever acknowledged as a Flappy Bird influence, but starts off with Joust. In Balloon Fight, in case you haven't played it, because this is obscure, you're a horrible little dipshit who has balloons to let him float. And you play Joust, the better Atari game, where basically you have to land on top of an enemy to pop one of their balloons.
Yes. And you build momentum.
You tap A to like flap.
Yeah.
Like,
you got a little fan behind you. And the faster and more you tap, the more upward and sideways momentum that you build. But you cannot necessarily slow down or stop very quickly.
Yes.
And so knowing how to manage that momentum, apparently very difficult to accomplish technically. This, I believe, was also one of Iwata's first projects, was working on this.
That's why it is famous.
What's up?
That is why this game was famous. It kind of came back into discussion when Iwata passed away.
Yeah, into vogue because of how beloved that man was.
Yeah, with good reason. This feels like an ice level in the air.
Yep.
To me,
that's a good way to put it.
Controls like dog shit. Yeah. What a wretched Nintendo game, Iwata. God rest your soul. It also ends up with these Flappy Bird things where you go from right to left like a maniac, and you have to avoid these clusters of like kill boxes using the shitty air ice level thing.
Yeah. And it starts off with like basic tools before bringing you into like time challenges. Almost, there are enemies that take a while to take off, like as they inflate their balloons. You need to pop like a number of balloons where they float up and leave the screen. Which ends up requiring an awful lot of precision. That I didn't necessarily develop by the time I reached those challenges. The nice part though is you don't need to beat all of these to unlock all the remix stuff. So see you later. Bye.
Yeah, this was a big see you later to me. Perhaps the biggest, not the biggest because it was Dr. Mario.
Oh, there is Kid Icarus.
This was up there too, and then Kid Icarus comes next, which like this is a weird fucking game. God, Kid Icarus is weird. The Game Boy sequel is really weird as well.
Oh, I never played that one. Yeah,
it's bizarre.
I clowned on Kid Icarus Uprising or whatever it was, the 3DS one. I clowned
that game about the revolution. The game how Medusa's blood will stay in the streets.
Oh, can you hear the hoplites singing? Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I clowned on Kid Icarus Uprising, thinking, oh yeah, everybody, that's not a good game. It was impossible to play. It was an early 3DS thing that was pretty rough. Boy, did people come out of the woodwork on Twitter to slap me on that. Yeah. Apparently, this is a beloved game that needs a remake now.
I've heard that before too, and I've heard that like with on later editions and stuff with the second analog stick, it's playable. The thing that stopped me from wanting to play it is it really goes into the heavy cutscene characterization and lore of Kid Icarus.
Yeah.
Like even the Kid Icarus cutscenes in Smash Brothers felt embarrassing to me.
Yeah.
I don't want him to have like a story and stuff. I just want him to be a little man.
Yeah.
Walks around shooting shitty arrows, gets turned into an eggplant and stuff.
Yeah. And Kid Icarus Uprising is also, I mean, like this, the secret, the joke of Kid Icarus Uprising, rude, is that it's basically Star Fox, and that wasn't necessarily what I wanted either. So
yeah, I love Star Fox 1, but then as soon as Star Fox started having lore as well, I got done with it. That's the Nintendo arc though.
Yeah. Yeah.
They love to just give their games unnecessary story.
Yeah.
Star Fox went to a fucking planet of peaceful dinosaurs and learned to love.
And so did a whole generation. Yeah.
Kid Icarus is a weird little fuck. He's a little pervert with wings who shoots little ineffectual arrows. It's kind of like a vertical scrolling wraparound Metroid.
A little bit, yeah. His shitty little arrows, the fact that they only go 2 tomba widths is pretty frustrating.
Yeah. And then at the end, like you get a lot of items. No items icon represents what it is.
Yeah.
Like hearts are money, hammers are something else. Like hammer, it's really strange.
Yeah.
You have to find your exit through there. You get fucked over by like eggplant wizards and death all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And not being able to do anything. He is a sickening little perv.
Yeah.
Who loves misogyny. And he...
his blog basically just reads like warmed over Jordan Peterson.
Yeah. He's a horrible, wretched little shit. And at the end, you fight the Medusa wall from the end of the game.
Yes.
You fight your mini bosses and stuff. He's just a little trash creature, horrible little gremlin.
You know, and if I played Kid Icarus when I was young, maybe the story on this would be different. Who knows? Maybe I would have the muscle memory for it. But like, I don't know. I came to Zelda 2 late, and I like that much more than this. Kid Icarus
is a much better game. I mean, this is much more primitive too. Zelda 2 is a much later game.
Yeah. Kid Icarus, it feels like a game made up for a television show.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's got a lot in common with Metroid, but Metroid 1 is better.
Yeah.
And I'm not really somebody who like really wants to fire up Metroid 1.
Right.
You know, right now and play it either. You know, like there's zero mission. Like I can get the goodness of that without the badness.
Yeah.
Kid Icarus is like a less respectable Metroid 1 to me. You move on to Zelda 2, which is good.
Yep.
Came out much later. This is the side-scrolling weirdo Zelda that has kind of actually deep combat and RPG mechanics.
Fun duels. Your shield actually matters in this, and they go a long way to teaching you that here. What your shield can and cannot reflect at different points, depending on what shield you have.
Yep. You know, teaching your moveset and stuff, because you have a more varied moveset than you might expect for an NES game. And then you get the final boss, a Dark Link.
Yeah.
At this, in the final bit of this. Again, it's like just kind of doing a tour of Zelda 2 and seeing parts of it. You know, it's not that different than having like a save state, you know, set up. But it's, you know, most of the time when they have bosses in this, they'll have like half their life.
Yeah.
You know, like they will be much easier to defeat in this. So you kind of get the experience of seeing what Dark Link was like before Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Without actually having to put in the work of grinding up to fight him.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah. I honestly wish there was more of it here, but it's just one of those ones. Some of these have like, you know, 30 challenges. Some of them have 7. And this is unfortunately one of the 7s.
Yeah. It is a strange move.
Yeah.
Kind of one of the other oddball ones they included with this, along with Balloon Fight, is the Lost Levels.
I'm so happy they did.
Yeah. We're both big we stand Lost Levels here on Duckfeed. I think you can have a really good time sitting on a couch passing the controller, just trying to get past state, like cooperating to make progress in Lost Levels. That's a really good time.
Yeah. Because it fucks with you. It presumes that you have played and gotten that you have been playing the original Mario straight for a year, and that you know it inside and out. And that is not something a lot of people have, and so they're not going to get to see some of the stuff that is kind of in here. You know, especially like if they nope out after they first run into the poison mushroom and say, "Oh, this is not fair," they're going to be missing out on a lot. So like they're not going to see the way that like Nintendo themselves understood like what was at the edge of possibility for like jumps that you could make, not just horizontally, but like to hook out and then hook back in. You know, there's lots of those in this. Just lots of like real high precision stuff.
It's Nintendo understanding the appeal of Kaizo Mario and Mario Maker.
Yes.
You know, decades before those things came about. You know, and this is basically the birthplace of Kaizo Mario, which I do not like playing Kaizo Mario, but I love watching Kaizo Mario.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I have a lot of affection for this because that's some of the most fun stuff you can do. Like when those show up on AGDQs, that's like so impressive and fun.
Yeah.
So it kind of basically highlights the little tricks and traps. This does. You know, they're really bad trampolines.
God, I forgot.
On Mario 1 as well.
But they really make you use them in the Lost Levels, and I hate those things.
Yeah, they don't work.
Nope.
They're really shitty there.
Yeah.
You follow shells to get one up. So like you hit a one up and then it's on a higher track than you, and you have to kind of follow it around or follow it down to get it through there. And then the like actual literal tricks.
Yes.
You know, you can take the warp pipes to get to the final boss. I think there's a level where you do the fake warp pipe that takes you back to the beginning of the game.
Yep.
And this as well. It's so funny. God. It's so shitty.
You assholes.
Yeah.
But then you get the Bowser fake out. Like, I wish more people knew about this. Where like, okay, if you fight the first Bowser you come to, you lost. You gotta go. You gotta go 2 Bowsers down if you want to beat the game.
It's like a pancake. It's like Cole's conception of pancakes. Yeah.
Oh God. Just
pretty great.
Real good. I love that kind of design based humor.
The Metroid version of this is really good too in terms of like showing people the highlights.
Yeah.
Because that's an esoteric maze-like game. This just, you get to see Samus's tools as you play through it. It shows you several of the secret passageways and then lets you fight the bosses.
Yes.
And do the escape sequence. In between those moments when actually playing Metroid are huge, like getting lost, like, and things I value, like I respect Metroid.
Yeah.
But just getting lost, like in really samey looking hallways that go on forever.
Yeah.
It just kind of cuts out that cruft.
Lots and lots of way too long vertical hallways that are very easy to fall down and lose all your progress,
Yes. No good.
No good.
That's the final game that they introduce. But then you also have the remix 1, 2, and the bonus stages.
Yeah.
Your bonus remixes.
So instead of saying like, hey, here's what you're going to find a remix 1, remix 2, etc., like it's total 75 challenges. I instead have kind of like broadly categorized the tricks that they play. Broken it down into modified game challenges, auto runs, visibility mutators, and mix and match. And those are kind of in ascending level of like maybe not like entertainingness, but like gimmickry, to a degree.
Yeah.
Like gee whizzitude, And these are mixed in with just some things that are just like very difficult stunts to pull off.
Yeah. Those are less good.
Yeah.
To me. But when they're good, they're great.
Yeah.
So the first category are modified game challenges. So a minor element of a game has been changed to create kind of a weird or more challenging condition. There are things that are less challenging as well sometimes.
Yep.
Like you're just invincible.
Yeah. So it's like find the path through this level. There's really not a time limit on this invincibility. You don't have to like re-up it or chain it, but it's like run the path that will get you to kill as many enemies as you can in a short amount of time. So like knowing which Goombas to skip in order to get to more later on, that puts you on a better path. Yeah.
There are hacks of Mario where they make elements of it big. So big bullet bills, big fireballs, big Bowser. You have to get around. There are cool clone matches where there are fake enemies that are like little, blur spells. But then kind of a little shout out to the cherry power up.
Yeah.
It says ignore the clones and finish the level. And your Mario just buds into 3 Marios that all move the same, but the ones on the end are are immaterial.
Yeah. I'm seeing double here, 6 Marios.
Yeah. It like fucks with your platforming. Because those are really fun.
Yeah. You get to the one that's Mario 2, you fight Birdo. And you don't really understand, like you it is pretty tough to jump on one of those eggs that moves regardless of how slow it's moving. And those clones are just disruptive enough to make it it's kind of like wearing beer goggles to a degree.
Yeah, very similar. Isn't it weird in the Itchy and Krusty Land or the Duff Gardens episode of The Simpsons when Bart puts on the beer goggles, he imagines his aunt coming on to him?
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Do you remember that? Like he's like 8. Or 9 or 10. I don't know how Bart's young.
And it changes the way that he
Bart young.
It changes the way that he sees, which is very strange. Or
much so that he
not the way that he sees. It
You know?
changes the way that he hears. Like it changes his actual perception. Beer goggles, the only
It makes him
way.
go through instant puberty. Like he puts the glasses down and it's like, I'm going to suck your dick. Or I can't remember what she says. But he's like, yes, ma'am. And then he takes the glasses off and it's like, oh, it's just Aunt Selma. Like the idea being the only thing that would stop Bart from wanting to have sex with his aunt is how unattractive she is.
Yeah.
You know?
But Bart was always going to be a fucked up little dude. He and Pit would get along really well, actually.
Oh yeah, little perverts, little misogyny.
You get sped up auto scrolling levels in this, like go through the airship in Mario 3 while it's speeding, which is just a sped up auto scroll. But some of those are pretty intricate, pretty tough. There are ones that add wind to give like intermittent resistance or to make things icy as well. So putting a little bit of slide on different platforms. That's neat.
Yeah. You go through Mario 3 stages with Princess Peach's powers from Mario 2.
But her weird Mario 3 sprite.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you get to the end, you beat Bowser and you rescue the princess. And she says, "Thank you, but you are in another castle." Just kidding. Bye. That's so weird and trippy.
I love it.
Like, I'm me. It's really good.
The Luigi remixes are fun too, where the only difference between them, other than the coloration obviously, is that it's mirrored left to right. So you do this as like playing Donkey Kong, playing as Luigi to rescue Mario or to like get to Mario's hat. That one in the bonus stages where it's like, okay, you're not getting from bottom to top, you're trying to get from top to bottom. It
goes with you getting from bottom to top, and then goes on second thought, go back.
Yep.
That's so funny. It's also, this is a shout out to the other NES remix games where it included a Super Luigi Brothers where you played with Luigi's physics and did all of Mario Brothers 1 going from right to left.
I couldn't.
Yeah, it's real fucked up. Like, again, these are sacred spaces. So like when you fuck with them, it feels real weird.
Yeah. In a way that like a mirror match in Mario 64 doesn't.
Yeah.
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 The Kirby one was really tough for me when he couldn't exhale, so you can't use any of the Kirby moves. You just had to do it as a straight platformer.
Because it's not a great platformer.
Right. You need those moves.
Yeah. That's really cool. That was fun as well. There are Dr. Mario ones where it's just verses.
Yeah.
That you have, or the viruses will move or change colors. These blow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The color changing ones, I skipped past those. I couldn't brook it. The moving ones, it was like that is a more interesting challenge because you just have to figure out how to trap them, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But the color changing was like, oh, well, I guess my planning didn't matter. Fuck me, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the reward is, a slightly different Dr. Mario does not engender any affection from me.
Yeah. Auto scroll Mario Brothers feels weird. Where
that's great.
It is moving from left to right, and it's still like it's effectively the same. It's just changing the way that it displays the wraparound.
Yeah, it just feels real weird though. And upside down Mario Brothers.
Oh yeah,
which like again like that's again great if they just released a full. And I'm sure there is just a ROM hack of these. That'd be a great party like past the controller.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a reason strange. That's the most like that is the run in Rogue Legacy that you get the most rewards for. Because it's impossible. The Vertigo one.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And then Punch Out versus a super powered Glass Joe.
Like that.
Which, that's great because Glass Joe is, nature's like God's own mistake.
Yeah.
The auto run ones, I would play. This made me want to boot up Mario Run again.
I'm happy that you said that because I need to look and see when Mario Run came out. I think that was like 2015. I think that was definitely after this. And Mario Run owns. I think a lot of people played it and they're like, "Oh, I got all the yellow coins, and this game is real slight. I can't believe I paid $10 for this. This isn't a Mario game." And it's like, no, you fool. You can like go up to the blue coins, the green coins, the black coins.
Yeah,
like this is a very precise game that is like very tightly and well designed.
It's really good. The thing that put me off it was adding in all the like shitty, making a town stuff.
Yeah, I didn't care for that.
In it, like it's got a bunch of garbage mobile game stuff, but as an auto runner, it's really good. And these auto runners are really good. Doing that Peep Peep bridge.
Yeah,
and it's. I think it accidentally kind of trains you for speed running because that's when you're speed running a game. Like you're basically always going to be sprinting, and you're just controlling when you jump and how long you jump.
Yeah,
that's really cool. That's a really fun way to engage with these games.
Yeah. Mario Run was 2016 here in America, so that well after this, which is neat. Auto Run Metroid works a lot better than I expected it to. Actually,
Absolutely.
Because of the it's not the space jump that you do, but the
various suit.
Yeah, the various suit where you can
screw attack.
Yeah, screw yeah. Where it will damage anything that you do a somersault through. Do the air flip too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then automatic run Excite Bike, where you are always turbo speeding, and you have to run through these cooling arrows that you can go through. So these are just little precision challenges, also really fun.
Yeah. Either memorization or reaction time, depending on how you play this kind of game.
Yeah. There are a series of visibility kind of mutators, which are a lot of them, either making the screen dark, doing everything in silhouette, making enemy or terrain invisible, basically testing your knowledge of the levels and signifiers. So like in the Mario ones, for example, there'll be, the platforms are invisible, but that there are coins on the platforms.
Yes.
So you jump where the coins are.
There are ones, like the hardest one for me was the Punch Out one. Who's the guy who does like the big spin and you have to block all of his spin attacks in a row? Yeah.
Does he spin in place or does he spin around the ring?
He spins around the ring. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's Great Tiger. The spin in place is what's his head? Paul Hollywood. The guy from Mr. I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hits you with a croissant. No.
Yeah.
I said croissant. I should have said crumpet or whatever, just to go with the Great British Bake Off.
Or croissant.
But I said croissant, and that would be Glass Joe. I apologize for the mistake.
And his head literally explodes into croissants in the excellent and racist Wii Punch-Out game.
Oh man,
it's the most fun racist thing that there is. Wii Punch-Out.
Oh man. But yeah, that one's pretty tough because, it's tough to, for me, it was tough to get the rhythm of his spins around the ring when you couldn't see, like when he, kind of like hit the other side, when he was on the approach. For
me, I could do that with my eyes closed. I could do that by sound.
Yeah.
But I just have Punch Out memorized.
Yeah. So these visibility ones for me are the most effective when the source of the light is diegetic. So like you are navigating by a headlamp on Excite Bike, like the source of light is moving with your guy. The angry sun in Mario 3, providing the light. So like you have to move to keep up with it, but also avoid it because it's trying to attack you.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also a thing where the camera will zoom in to make things more difficult. This happens in Donkey Kong, and then also during a mini game in Kirby, where he's tossing eggs and bombs in your mouth, and you have to press the button when you want your mouth to be open. And you just get less lead time.
Yeah. There are ones where you are trying to avoid a big spinning wheel of fireballs in Mario 1. I forget what those are called, but you know what I'm talking about. And it does like a really pronounced zoom in normally, but when you jump, it zooms out. So you have to do the jump in order to see anything of what's coming on. The conditions on which it zooms is neat, and it's like fun to see these sprites zoomed up, and they use filters to apply like a subtle texture to it, so it's not just a color field, which is nice. Yeah.
And then finally, probably the most imaginative ones are the ones where they mix and match elements like stages and characters from games and put them into other games. So like you're in the stage of Mario 1 collecting coins, but you are Kirby. So you can inhale bricks and throw them out, or you are Samus and you can blast and use bombs, or you're Zelda 2 Link and you can smash them with your sword.
You are Kirby.
Yes. Yeah. One of the 9 kings of hell.
Obviously this is something that would be carried forward into Mario Maker using the amiibo to change your sprite. I forget if that was ever uncoupled from amiibo, but it is fun to see Link in Mario. I don't know. There's just something about having these things mixed up that I just want to clap and point whenever I see it.
Well, me too. Well, this is not just the sprites too, your verb set.
Right.
You are, really, really cool, challenging one doing Donkey Kong with Link.
Yeah.
Because you cannot jump. Really neat.
I like the ones where they just add the wall of booze coming after you. Like, okay, you're Kirby. You're trying to defeat the tree at the end of Wispy Woods, and there is a wall of booze that will start coming at you when you are faced away from it. So you are not just watching and trying to get the apples that it's dropping at you, but like remembering to point backwards in between attacks when you're not dodging stuff. They add these to a couple the walls of booze.
Yeah, and booze are part of our gamer vocabulary. Like, we know what booze do.
Yes.
We know what booze like.
Mm-hmm.
We know what booze want. Yeah, so basically that's what we got.
Mm-hmm.
Just variations on that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Neat.
Mm-hmm.
Very fun. I would play there was that ROM hack game where you played through Mario, and you played through actual versions where you could be Link or Samus and have their actual movesets. I remember that in the early or like late 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what it's called. Somebody let me know if you remember it. But yeah, that's what this reminded me of.
Yeah. But you get a few of these, like defeating a boomerang brother with Zelda 2 Link. Playing as the hated pit, collecting those poor Zelda fairies. What they do? Come on.
What does he do with them? What does collect mean in this sentence?
Playing as Mario 2 Toad in Zelda 2, so you pick up Octoroks and throw them into lava to kill them.
That's great. Yeah. Play a whole game of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's really fun. These things are a highlight. The rest of the stuff, we talked about the individual games, it does end up feeling like you are taking, again, we mentioned like doing the Reader's Digest version of the game, which has value. I did find myself at the end of this, like if I have a critique of this game, which I like a lot, is I would have liked more remix stuff. I would have done, it would have been very generous, but not impossibly generous to be like, here's Mario 1 in its totality as Kirby. That would work.
Yeah.
Suck up blocks, they could make that work.
Yeah.
That would have been really neat.
I agree. I wish that it was, more remixed by volume. And, in a way that is a criticism of priority, it's asking it to be a different game. But like, I almost feel like that's almost like a little bit of a compliment too, because they've revealed that this is actually fun and good, and they made me want more, so that is kind of a tricky proposition. Like, can I hold it against them if they showed me something cool and then didn't give me more of it? When it's not like there's a dearth of things to do with this. It's not that there's even like a dearth of like cool and fun things to do. It's a strange thing to evaluate just because it is so fractured, right?
Yeah, it just ends.
Yeah.
That's the bummer, is I just want more.
Yep.
Of the cool remix content thus.
Yeah.
Or like SNES remix. Be still my heart. Right? Yeah. This is great. I think if you were a fan of old retro games, this is a really great way to look at them.
Yeah.
And you will enjoy it. And it is a heavy recommendation, and not a lot of people played it. And it is not expensive to get your hands on.
Yeah. I think it's
a
like
recommendation for me.
It's like $8 if you get it used from popular marketplaces. I just got the digital one on the eShop. As we're recording, the eShop still has about a year left to live. But I got it on eShop for $20 because I forgot that I only had the Wii U version, the combo pack.
Yes.
But $20 feels pretty good for this, honestly.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a really good value.
Yeah. More people should play it and talk about it. And man, I want more of this kind of stuff because the Switch Online stuff does not come out nearly frequently enough for me to feel like I can get it there. Like it satisfies it in some ways and with weirdo games, but not like this does.
Yeah, I really like how that works, but I could handle more.
Yes.
Good pick.
Yeah. And part of this was also to do something with a strange new format as well. and I knew it would be pretty slight. So obviously we had originally planned to do Alien versus Predator 2, but technical problems kept us from doing that. I'm real happy that this slotted in here as well. And I hope people enjoyed the episode.
Yeah, me too. A little shorter than we usually do, but again, lend us some grace for Elden Ring. And also, remember, way back in the day, we do short games now.
Yeah.
We haven't always fulfilled that promise, but it happens.
Yep.
We are not Giant Bomb.
Nope.
In that respect.
Yeah. So thank you very much. If you have thoughts on Ultra NES Remix, or throw in the other ones too, if you played the Wii U ones, those responses can go in here as well. Thoughts on NES Remix, Inscription, King's Bounty for the Genesis, or our premium episode, Until Dawn, you can go to Duckfeed.tv/contact and write in about those games. If you have thoughts about multiple games, please write multiple responses, one about each game. That just makes it easier for us. And do that. The deadline for responses is going to be March the 15th. It is always the 15th of every month.
Yeah. King's Bounty will also be probably a quickie.
Yes.
Like I recently wrapped that up. It's not, not going to talk about every individual fight because that's not really how the game works.
Right.
But it is a really surprisingly cool game.
Yeah.
It's nifty, super nifty. If you have things to say about next month's games, which are The Shrouded Isle, Chuck E. Cheese, and Deathloop, hit us up at duckfeed.tv/contact by April 15th.
You can support this show. We talked about a Patreon early on. The details for that, go to patreon.com/duckfeed.tv. There you can pledge a certain amount of money per month and get access to a ton of bonus content. Like we said, we are making some changes to give you a little bit more control over how you get your stuff, hopefully to make to make everything just a little bit more discoverable for you. All of those changes are going to be rolled out and announced here in the near term. Plenty of them are out there immediately right now as you hear it. But this is in preparation because Elden Ring is out. Elden Ring is very good, and our coverage of that on Bonfireside Chat is going to be beginning very shortly. In fact, our first impressions episode is coming out this Sunday as you are hearing this on the early release feed.
Yeah. Some people with varying degrees of good faith have been like, oh no, I hope this isn't a repeat of the Dark Souls 3 season. So far, I am much more in love with this.
Yes.
So there's still time for this to shit the bed in terms of my own personal, opinion. But if you are somebody, I'm on the record of criticism does not inherently have to be a gush fest to be valuable. But if you're in the mood for a gush fest, get ready for some gush fest, at least for a while.
Yes.
Because I am absolutely enamored with this. It feels like many things like they just listen directly to me. And it feels like they realize, it's like almost like they listened to my complaints about the Sekiro and Dark Souls 3 season. It was like, how can we fix this for Gary?
Obviously, you
don't
think the TV is talking to you, but this is it feels like it is.
I'm going full Malkavian with this. No, you stop.
Yeah. So I'll take the feather back part of this. Elden Ring is huge. I'm already seeing it kind of overflow the bounds of the previously established Souls community. If you are kind of getting in on this, and if this is your entry point into Souls, understand that we have a premium show called Bonfireside Chat that has historically been about From Software's Souls and Bloodborne series. We're going to be doing Elden Ring, but there are so many episodes, more than 200 episodes of us talking about that series and related things. And that is all available on the Patreon.
Yeah. It's if you're listening to this on the Patreon, you have access to a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So give it a shot. Ratings, reviews on Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict. That's very useful to us, and we appreciate it. And that's basically it.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have anything else. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself. Stay safe.
Please do. Especially if we have anybody in Eastern Europe.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I wish that there was something that we could do, or in Texas.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shit.
Very different ways that the world is absolutely just biting the fucking gigantic ass.
Yeah.
That's not an expression, but it is biting the gigantic ass, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
It's a bite. It is not good out there. If you are one of our, trans sisters, brothers, or non-binary people who live in Texas, we are with you in solidarity. We appreciate you. Our heart goes out to you, and we will do what we can. We do stuff to raise money from time to time. It is a busy time for the network right now, because it's not just like, oh, we have a fun video game to play. It's Elden Ring. It's a big part of the job. Like, a lot of people are coming over from that, and we have to get the shape of that and get that done.
Yeah.
But we will try to figure something out.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this and you are in Ukraine, my heart absolutely goes out to you. Like, that is the first time in a very long time news has made me weep.
Yep.
Just pictures of like school teachers who are being given guns and just being sent out in the streets to fight because there's one fucking maniac.
Yep. Because there's a
there.
maniac. Yeah.
I
and
hate it.
Don't come at me with yeah. Sorry, I was anticipating tanky shit.
Do tankies really go to bat for Putin?
Yeah, they do.
Really? That's bizarre.
They will call you an imperialist for being against that imperialist asshole. Yeah.
I assumed that tankies were into the old shit.
Yeah. It happens. You'll see it. This is not the topic for this show. I did not mean to get into those petty things here.
Wasn't Russia remixed? That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
they're just trying to remix and chop and screw their various old territories.
Yeah,
they're in love with their legacy, just like Nintendo.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So we have to laugh because it has been some of the most dispiriting stuff. This feels very much like the recent attacks on Palestine.
Which is also just is still
Yep.
That didn't just magically go away either.
Nope. Syria didn't go away. All that fuck.
Yeah, we if you are listening and you're in those zones. I understand this is cold comfort because it's not food and money.
Yeah.
But, we stand in solidarity as best we can.
Yeah. You do not deserve the suffering that is being imposed on you.
Yeah, absolutely. So on that note, boing. What should they do next time, Cole?
Watch out for the news, man.
Yeah. And Huey Lewis.
Coming at you.